Hey there, I'm Eldridge Huntington. I want to chat with you a little bit today about the home buying process. So I see a lot of stuff out there on Instagram and the internet about getting started. Well, about a year ago, I created my very own home buyer's guide for folks out there that are just getting into it. I think it's a really important guide because it kind of does it step by step of how to get started, how to get you on track and keep you on track through this entire process. So with that being said, let's start with number one. Okay, so number one, let's start talking about wants and needs. This is the most basic and very first thing you're gonna start doing. And you're doing it naturally probably right now since you're already watching this video. Start thinking about what you absolutely need to get out of this house and the things that you would really like to have in your home. Make a list and then send it on over to me. That's how we start with your wants and needs. And we're gonna use that wants and needs list to set up your criteria for your home search, and it's also going to be the basis of what we're going off the entire time we're out there searching. So I can keep going back into it and say, oh, okay, hey, we're looking for a large yard because we got a dog, we have kids, we have things like that. You know, we want proximity to coffee shops or parks or things like that because we like to get out and do a nice little Sunday walk, whatever it may be. Anyhow, right here you got your wants and needs. You can either do a spreadsheet, Excel, whatever you like, or you can just simply write it down, take a picture, and shoot it on over to me. I think this is one of the more important things to have because it's going to give you some boundaries and guidelines that you can stick to yourself and move throughout this search process. Because number one thing we don't want to do is overwork ourselves and get fatigued before we even get out there. So I'll be talking a lot about getting fatigued before you get out there. This is the first step in fending that off. All right, chapter 2, this is contacting a lender. I think it's very important that you get your wants and needs done as we've gone over to set an idea of what you need and what you want out of the house. And the step 2 is definitely contacting that lender. Now with that, you're gonna be setting your expectations. The lender is gonna give you a pre-approval letter. It takes about 3 days, maybe a week, maybe more, depending on how you make your income. And that's going to give you an idea of what you're able to spend. So if you're out looking at $500,000 houses and you only can afford $450,000 house, then you've spent that much time spinning your wheels looking at something that you can't afford. So very important, contact a lender, get that done. It's a pretty busy market out here for sellers. And so, you know, usually a house is on the market, people see it for 3-4 days, and then it's gone pending. So it takes you, like I said, 3 days to a little bit over a week to get pre-approved. So if you're out looking without the pre-approval, you may not get that in time to get your offer in. You may end up losing the house, which is just awful. It's painful to find what you need and what you want, and then you can't even put an offer in. So very important. You can contact me, and I can help you out with a few folks that have been great with my previous clients, lenders out there, or you can do your own search. I always say look for somebody local because the agents on the other side are looking at who your lender is, and if they've worked with them before and they've had a good experience and they know they can close a loan on time without too many problems, that's going to help you out that much more to get your offer. All right, so we got you pre-approved, you're ready to go. Now we're going to talk about getting out there. That is chapters 3 and 4 of the home buying guide. So you have your 5 steps here, kind of give you an idea of what you need to do to get started to get out there, aside from getting pre-approved, of course. And then we get here to this page. I want to show you this. Now this has a little QR code, and you're gonna see this QR code throughout this book. When you see one of those, you can kind of wave your phone over it, and it should pick up a website, and it's gonna send you, in this instance, for finding your neighborhood, it's gonna send you some videos I've previously done on neighborhoods around Portland. When you get to other sections of the book, like writing the contract or inspections and things of that nature, it's going to pull up documents and contracts that I've previously gone through and get you a better idea of what these documents look like before you actually have them coming in through your email. And I'm like, hey, we got to get this done in like a half an hour, offers are due. So it's always nice to kind of go through it, get an idea of what you're actually signing, and then we can go on from there. Now let's get back to this home search. So I know that a lot of folks are using apps or they're online and they're kind of starting their home search that way. That's perfectly fine. I like to use either Redfin or Realtor.com. I think their info is a little bit more accurate than others. The stuff that I send you is the most accurate because it's directly comes from realtors putting that information into the system. So it's the most accurate. Now with that, go ahead and send me whatever you're liking from your chosen app, and I'll kind of just start to build an idea of what you're looking for, your aesthetic, you know, just the neighborhoods that you're liking and all that kind of stuff. I kind of pair that with your wants and needs list that you've sent, I'm starting to create this file for you. And this is gonna help me kind of keep an eye out for your house when we're not out there together. This is me searching on your behalf without you being there. I need about 24 hours in advance to get a tour set up. I don't like to do more than 6 houses on a tour. Each house takes about 15 to 20 minutes. You can do extra, but usually it's about 15 to 20 minutes we have per house, and then we have to have some time to get to the next one. So it's like 30-minute increments. So a full tour day, I think, is about 2.5 hours. Going through houses, and we are getting down into the nitty-gritty of these houses. Crawl spaces, I look in the attics, I look at the electrical, siding, roof. We talk about all the ins and outs. And we kind of make a checklist of this house is going to be a good fit for you or not. So we want to make sure that we're going through this entire process so you don't get fatigued. You're going to be seeing 20, 30 houses a week coming through. You want to make sure that you can cut that down to 5 or 6 houses by the weekend or whenever you're going out and looking at these places. So we're not seeing a bunch of houses that aren't going to be a good fit. We want to just take those off the list. So take a look at the buyer's guide, go through that list, send me your wants and needs, we get it set up, and then we get out there and start looking. All right, chapter 5 is writing the offer. You'll see right down here is another QR code, and that's going to be able to pull up a sales contract that you can go over and take a look at. I definitely suggest you do that because, again, when we're in the heat of it and we found that house and it's time to get something out, I want to make sure that you're 100% comfortable with the document that you're signing. There's a lot to it, and I think it's better to go through on your own time when you're not pressured to get a sense of everything. You call me, you send me an email, and I'll be happy to explain everything to you that's in that document. You're going to be seeing some other documents come through at this time too. You'll probably get a seller's property disclosure with it. You'll get disclosures from me saying that I'm a real estate agent here and that we're working together, things of that nature. That's all available for you to see through that QR code. Now, all right, let's get into the nitty-gritty about writing the offer. I use DocuSign for all my signatures, okay? It's the modern era. We send everything through email, through DocuSign. You sign it, comes back to me, and then I send it over to the listing agent to review with their clients. Now, when we're going through this, there's going to be a number of different things that we're going to have to put in there. What we're offering, oftentimes, is going to be above what the asking price for the house was. So we're going to talk about that part prior to even getting here. We're going to talk about your earnest money deposit you're going to put down. That is the percentage of your down payment that you're holding off to the side to be liquid to go into the seller's hands prior to getting this thing done. So it's basically like your skin in the game, okay? This is your financial piece that is up for the seller if you decide to walk away before this is done. Now, you have options to walk away throughout this thing. That's going to be with the inspection, the seller's property disclosure, and appraisal. So you have opportunities, but if those all come in clean, you decide to walk away, the seller is going to keep that earnest money deposit. So it kind of keeps you in the game. It doesn't keep you jumping all around. So it just kind of putting in offers all over the place. Along with those items that we're going to be putting into the sales contract, we have our price that we're offering, our earnest money deposit, and then you're going to talk about your down payment that you need to put down with it as well. So there's a couple different programs out there where you might be at a 3 to 5%, you may be at a 5% down payment, 10, 20, or what have you above that. That's between you and your lender. Along with all that kind of stuff in there, we're going to be talking about the time that we're going to allow for inspections to happen, what inspections we're going to be doing, with that, we'll also discuss exactly, once we've gone through the house and I talk about the roof and the siding and all those things, I'll give you an idea of some things that I think are probably going to come up during the inspection. I'll give you a good idea of what to expect there. So that is kind of the basics of writing the offer. I'm really hoping that you have the opportunity to get in there, look at the sales contract, go through it, feel comfortable with it, and then we go from there. I usually put a 24-hour deadline for the other side to respond. So if you put it in at 6 o'clock in the evening on a Monday, by 6 o'clock on a Tuesday, expect for us to hear something from the other side. So that's kind of the rough idea of what you're going to be getting when you're writing an offer. Okay, your offer has been accepted. Congratulations. Now we're going on to the home inspection process of this thing. Right here, chapter 6, you'll notice that right here at the bottom, we have another QR code. That's going to pull up a credit and a repair addendum. So you can take a look at that, get an idea of what that looks like before I actually send it to you. Standard home inspection period is 10 days. unless we've negotiated a less amount of time, if we have a lot of competition that we're going up against, it's going to be a standard of 10 days. Now, oftentimes, folks in highly competitive situations are going 5 days, 7 days, or even just saying the inspection is just for informational purposes only, and we're not going to be asking for anything. Let's assume that we have a standard 10-day inspection period here and that nothing is off the table. When we were looking at the house previously, before we wrote the offer, I'd been pointing out some things with the siding of the roof or some things that I think may be an issue or might come up in the inspection. Now we have the home inspector here. He's going to give you a more in-depth look at that. He's going to get very close to the roof. Either he's going to get up on the roof, or he's got a drone that he's going to be using, or that they will be using in this scenario. They're going to be looking at the electrical, plumbing, the foundation. They're going to be looking all over the house for anything that may affect the quality of life that you'll be having while you're in the house, the longevity of the house and things of that nature that could affect its value. So when we get into this whole thing, I'm going to be kind of right there with you, letting you know roughly what prices are for things. I can't quote you prices or anything like that, but can say, okay, well, we have a sewer coming up here. If you decide to take care of this yourself, depending on how deep the sewer is or what's going on with it, this would cost you between $4,000 and $12,000, depending on what we're looking like. If you have, some fungal growth that we found, above the bathroom in the attic, what remediation of that might look like. So when we take all these things that we now have and you've decided, okay, I'll take care of this block of things. These are all fine. I'll take care of the chipping paint on the side of the house. I'll replace some of the cedar siding or something like that. But seller's got to take care of that sewer, and seller's got to take care of the fungal growth that we found in the attic. We put that into a repair addendum. And that means that we're asking the seller, in order for this thing to close, they need to fix these things by a certain date. If we decide that there is not enough time, or it's not necessary to get it fixed before the sale, we can ask for a credit towards that repair. So we'll get bids, and we will take those numbers. It's nice to get 2 to 3, 4 bids per repair that needs to happen, just so they can see that we're not going off the highest bid for no reason, but this is the range that we'll be looking at. And then we're going to put that number into what's called the credit addendum. We can put that, we send that over to the other side, the listing team, and they'll discuss with their client and figure out exactly what's going to work for them. So that's kind of the idea of the repair and credit addendum. Going through and working with the home inspector, going through the house. It usually takes about 2.5 hours to go through a home, and then we start doing our job. And it's really nice to have that 10 days, but sometimes we got to hit it really hard and get it done sooner. So that's kind of the basics of the home inspection. Okay, here we are, chapters 7 and 8. We're talking about finalizing your loan and moving. So the inspections are done. We've negotiated all the repairs. We figured that part out. Now we got to figure out how to get this loan wrapped up. The entire process takes about 30 to 35 days. That's a standard loan. Sometimes it goes a little faster. If they come into some hiccups along the way, it could take up to that 35 days. Unfortunately, sometimes it can take even a little longer. Let me talk about how we can keep this from going longer. Don't buy any big things, put it on your credit card. No buying furniture for the new house on the credit card. Stay with your job. These are important things. These are things that came up in the pre-approval process. They looked at how much debt to income you had. If you jack that way up, that's going to affect how this thing closes. If you quit your job or you get fired, that's going to affect how this closes, because you no longer have the employment you said you had at the beginning, and now your debt to income could be higher. So make sure that that does not change. Also, during this process, they're going to be doing, we're going to be kind of waiting on the appraisal to come in, which is going to set what the bank's value of that home is. Now, if all goes well, you'll be at or above value. So that's ideal. So if you're buying it for $500 and it appraises at $525, great. You're walking into $25,000 of just equity right there. Fantastic. If it appraises at $475, that means we have an appraisal gap, which is something that has to be negotiated. What I was saying before is you have some opportunities along the way to walk away. This is one of those opportunities that if you say, well, I can't come up with that extra $25,000, so I got to walk away. But if the seller really wants to sell and they say, well, hey, maybe you can come up with $10,000. You would come up with $10,000 in an appraisal gap coverage. And if or they can say, you know what, 475 is fine, we understand, you don't have it, regardless, you have to negotiate that aspect. Okay, so after the appraisal gap coverage has been figured out and you can move on from there, and we've decided that this thing is going to close on time. If it can't, then we have to put an extension out there, but we're assuming that we're closing on time. What's gonna happen now is, I would say it's time to jump up and down, but it's not. We have to wait until this records with the county. Now, recording with the county happens when money has been exchanged. So the money leaves your account, it's called funding, and goes into the seller's account, and then title and escrow lets them know that other part of the process has changed hands, and now the county says, okay, it's official, let's put the new buyer's name on the deed of the house, and it will officially be theirs. That's called recording. When that happens, I get that call, I call you, and we jump up and down and we celebrate because you just got the house. So that's kind of the process of closing right there. Hoping things don't go sideways. If they do, that's when we step in and we start negotiating and we start handling our business. Now that that's all done, we're gonna be talking about moving, okay? The moving process can also be pretty stressful. You have a lot of items that you've had in this home for many years. You gotta figure out what's going, what's getting donated or what's getting thrown away. It's gonna be a pretty big process. You're not alone here. I'm here with you. I'm happy to help. Now, I'm going to help in the capacity of calling for movers or getting trucks lined up, making sure that you have cleaners at your home that you're moving from, or cleaners are going to the other house to get it set up, whatever it is. But I'm going to try to alleviate as much of that stress as I can. Just got to reach out and let me know what that side of things are looking for you. So that's pretty much the idea behind finalizing your loan and moving. Just reach out. Let me know what you need, and I'm happy to help. All right, that was the home buying process in a nutshell. Now, I created this guide about a year ago because I know a lot of folks out there getting started assume like they feel like they need to have the answers before they reach out to me. That's not the case. I'm here to help you from the very beginning, throughout the entire process, and well beyond. I think that having the resources at your fingertips to make the best decisions you need to make for you and your family to get into a home is very important. So I want to make sure that I'm setting you up with that. I love explaining this process. I love going through this process with people. This is why I do it. This is also why realtors are here. There's a lot of moving parts here. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of emotions. You're dealing with a lot of money. You're dealing with something that this is going to be your new home. This is where your family's going to live. This is where you're going to live. This is where you're going to bring up your dogs or cats, whatever. You're going to make a lot of memories here. I just want to make sure that we're off to a good start. We're going to start it right. And through the entire process, you have somebody in your corner that's going to help you out with any questions you may have. But getting started with this book is definitely going to get you started on the right foot, and it's going to keep you on track throughout the entire process. So don't hesitate to get in touch. I'm happy to explain things to you personally, a phone call or a video call, whatever it may be. I'm here for you. My name is Eldridge Huntington. I'm a real estate agent here in Portland. Looking forward to meeting you.